Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certifact Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we have a pretty light video for you guys. I think we only have one first appearance, 7 honorable mentions, so only 8 titles in all to go through, but there's definitely some books in there worth picking up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearance of the week, beginning November 24th, 2023. Our only first appearance of this week is from Marvel Comics, The Incredible Hulk number 6. This features the first appearance of a Spirit of Vengeance from a century ago. Now, we typically recommend picking up the first appearance of new characters in Marvel titles, because Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of material, whether it's for small screen or big screen, and they are bringing a lot of these comic book characters to the screen, getting a lot more eyes on them, making them a lot more popular with fans, and collectors do race back and try to get the first appearance of these characters in the comic books. So it's typically worth picking these up for the cover price, if nothing else, just for a spec bet. That being said, this one here does feature the first appearance of the Spirit of Vengeance from a century ago. There are other versions of the Spirit of Vengeance, so you really don't know which one Marvel will go with if they actually bring this character to the screen. We still think this is probably worth picking up for the cover price. Like we always say, you don't want to chase this down later on for a lot more money. Grab this one here for a spec if you can, otherwise put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. And now for the honorable mentions. From Dark Horse Comics, Mortal Terror number 1. Vampires living in underground London try to keep the undead city safe from the rumored mortals above, who seek to give them life only to kill them. Now, we always mention this with these small press and indie publishers. When these books get optioned for small screen and big screen projects, that's a huge price driver. People race back to the comics and try to find these first appearances or these premiere issues. Dark Horse Comics has a lot of their titles picked up an option in the past, and this one here sounds like it lends itself very well to the screen. So in our opinion, this here is a great spec bet. Grab this one here if you can for a spec, otherwise put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Dark Horse Comics, Lunar Lodge number 1. A man discovers his wife is hiding a monstrous secret after receiving a call confirming her stay at the Lunar Lodge. Now, like we just mentioned a moment ago, Dark Horse has had a lot of their titles picked up an option in the past, and this one here sounds like it lends itself very well to the screen. This one here will definitely be a little bit more speculative if you choose to pick it up. You are specking on this being picked up an option, getting a lot more eyes on this particular title series, and having people race back to try to pick up this particular issue. But these small press and indie publishers, these are great specs in our opinion. These are typically under-purchased when they first come out. There's a lot fewer of them on the market than a lot of the superhero titles, so when people do race back to pick them up, there's not a lot of them out there. That is a big price driver for these books. So this one here, pick it up for a spec if you can. Otherwise, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Distillery, Somna number 1. Set during the time of the witch hunts in the 1600s, this series follows one woman's descent into an erotic escape from the confines of a puritanical world. Now this one here sounds like it lends itself very well to a small screen or big screen project, and Distillery is getting a lot more attention on their titles. They really haven't had a lot picked up an option in the past, but that's not really an indication that they won't in the future. Typically when Hollywood gets a hold of one of these small press and indie publishers, they go through their whole back catalog and try to farm it for ideas. So if any of these Distillery titles do get picked up an option for small screen and big screen projects, we do expect a lot more attention on their previous titles as well. So this one here is a great spec in our opinion, probably one worth picking up for the cover price. Go ahead and grab this one here for a spec if you can, otherwise put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Image Comics, The Holy Roller number 1. To care for his ailing father, a pro bowler is forced to quit his dream job and return to his hometown, which he soon discovers has been overrun by neo-Nazis and battles them with his bowling ball. Now, the synopsis of this particular story is just absurd enough to get attention. It's oftentimes these stories that are a little odd that actually get attention from Hollywood, and these are the ones that do get picked up an option. Image Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up an option in the past, so they do have an inroad already to Hollywood. And this one here, like I said, it does sound like it lends itself very well to the screen, and the story itself, based on the synopsis alone, does sound peculiar enough to get interest. So this is one we do think it's a great spec bet. Grab this one here if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up from Marvel Comics, Carnage number 1. Now this is the premiere issue of this new series, which is set to lay the groundwork for the next Venom epic. Now we put this here on the list because it is the premiere issue of this new Carnage series, and this is also a Spider-Man Universe title. Like we always say, Spider-Man probably the most heavily collected and the most popular of all the franchises for Marvel Comics. So anytime there's a premiere issue of these Spider-Man characters, such as Carnage, Venom, or Spider-Man, these are typically worth picking up and adding to your collection. Even if there's no first appearances in this issue, a lot of times people do go back and try to pick up these premiere issues, especially if they establish a new arc that is picked up and made into the small screen, big screen project. So this is one we do think you should probably pick up for your collection for the cover price. Go ahead and grab this one. Next up from Marvel Comics, Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars Battle World number 1. Tom DeFalco returns to the 1984 Secret Wars series to tell an untold story set during this time frame. Now, Marvel is definitely leaning very hard into the Secret Wars storyline, and the fact that this particular story is told during that timeline, this one here may be worth picking up. It's definitely going to be a little bit more speculative, because you are speculating on Marvel doing something more with this Secret Wars storyline, but they do plan on bringing this to the screen in some fashion, so the fact that they're producing a new comic book with an untold story from this particular storyline, they may be trying to bring a character into this particular story so they can put it on the small screen or big screen. So go ahead and pick this one up if you can. If you can't, they'll put it in your B-list, but keep an eye on this one. And finally, from Marvel Comics, X-Men number 141 Facsimile. This is a reprint of X-Men number 141. Now, like we always mention with these facsimile reprints, these don't just reprint the art and the story, but all the original ads, just like these books were when they hit the shelf many years ago. And X-Men number 141, there's a lot of first appearances in this issue, and this here for the cover price, definitely worth picking up. There's a huge secondary market for these facsimile copies. They always sell out, and they do trade at a premium in the secondary market. So this is one we do think you should pick up for your collection. So there you have the 8 titles that we have for you guys this week. Definitely some books in there worth picking up for your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Sir Fat Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.